Building on that, what do you think are the key risks, both on the climate as well as transition side, that you feel banks are exposed to today?
I think the time taken for transitioning and vis-a-vis the expectation of reaching the end goal of being net zero, I think that is something which everybody is struggling with, because nobody really knows that how much is this transition finance going to be and where it's going to lead you to and how long it's going to take. And as I said in the beginning of the conversation, that it's a marathon. The whole ESG piece or the climate risk, or we talk about the environment or sustainable finance, it's not something which can be done quickly and people just adapt to it, because that adaptation also is something which we are very new to. In fact, we are only talking about transition and we're talking about the whole sustainable finance. We're not even thinking of adaptation. There are so many adaptation techniques which I think our country is still very new to, and we've not even started talking about it much. So I feel for us as a bank, the whole transition journey, I feel, is going to be a challenge. It's not only for us, I think all the banks. In terms of the risks that I see, of course, there are the climate risk. I think that's going to be one major risk that is becoming, with vulnerabilities increasing across certain geographies. That may kind of limit banks on the lending side, no matter how good the project is, no matter how best the organization is or the company is who's looking at, or maybe they may be having the best track records, but if the geography is not supporting, with so many varied kind of climate risks we are seeing in the recent past, whether it was in the northern India, the recent cloud burst that we saw, I think we will have to go through this wave where people become more and more aware of what not to do than what to do. And that is something which I think everybody will have to adapt to.
Now let's look forward. What are the recent trends that will shape up the sustainable finance market in the next 3 to 5 years? And what kind of cross-sectoral partnerships, collaborations, alliances do you feel that will help build a thriving ecosystem?
I feel, Sandeep, there's going to be a lot of opportunity that's going to come up. When we talk of challenges in kind of enabling the whole ecosystem on the sustainability piece, I also see a lot of opportunities coming up with let's say our startup banking. So I see a lot of incubators coming in where they're wanting to invest in social entrepreneurs who are looking at various ways and means of looking at frameworks which would enable sustainable ecosystem on the climate framework, environmental related stuff. We're doing a lot of those already, like we're in talks with a lot of social entrepreneurs, but I think that is something which is going to scale up. There's more awareness. As the awareness is increasing, I think you have this young talent pool who are like so aware, they're so tech savvy, they're wanting to do amazing things. You'll be surprised to know that people are even coming up with ecosystem like how to recycle plastic, how to recycle let's say biscuit wrappers, or crazy ideas, and I think that part is something which is very, very exciting, which India as a country had not seen. We're having a lot of innovative startups coming in who would also enable this whole social entrepreneurship, where it will eventually lead to an impact. So that I'm definitely looking forward to. Another thing that I see is with banks becoming more and more aware, or financial institutions becoming more and more aware and enabled because of the government support, because of the ministry supports, regulators support, I think the lending also would be relooked at, the whole lending framework, the whole financing framework, in terms of how do we enable this whole ecosystem so that we don't really only push on the credit lines, but we also look at the impact. So how are we going to drive impact based lending? I think there's amazing stuff to watch out for. I'm very excited about it. There is a lot that's happening in this space. It's a plethora of opportunity that we can leverage on. Yes, it has to make business sense. It has to, every bank, every lender would want to have a successful exit, and I think that's where more and more sustainable experts will play a role in not only looking at any particular project or a lending file as just a pure play file, but also looking at what's the impact it's going to create, what's the long run for the particular project, whether it's going to stay, not stay, or how it's going to be evolving. So I think a lot of opportunities are going to get created, like how we say for digital. The more we're going to be kind of integrating the digital partnerships, the tech integrations with on the data computation, on impact computation, I think it's going to be a journey worth walking, and it's going to be worth living that journey. It's going to be amazing to watch. And the young generation, I think, is far more aware, more equipped. They're very clear, they know what they're doing. So we're looking forward to add on to this.
I'm really so excited after speaking to you, because I think all of us can attest that these environment, social, governance challenges that we are talking about are large and complex. But when I hear from you the kind of initiatives that IDFC FIRST Bank and your peers have been undertaking, you talked about what regulators and even your employees as stakeholders are kind of contributing. And now this entire journey that you talked about in terms of startup contribution to social entrepreneurship, I think the journey, there is of course light at the end of the tunnel. It just appears to me that way. But I think before we sign off, I would really on a personal note, if you could share a piece of advice to some new sustainability professionals or sustainability leaders who are starting this journey, on how can they be more effective, on how they can learn, grow and contribute positively to the organization they are working in.
I would say personally, one definitely needs to have the passion for it. And even in our bank, I'll tell you, we had to start it within first. Once you live it, you have to embed ESG not as a KRA. It has to be way of life. If it's going to be a way of life, the journey becomes easier. It's not that it becomes faster, it becomes easier, because as I said, it's a long drawn journey. One needs to be consistent. For all the young professionals out there, I feel it's an amazing opportunity to be in this side of the world, and while you are in the corporate career, you're also doing community work, you're also taking care of the socio-economic upliftment of the community, you're also doing social good. I don't see you will get these opportunities quite often. These are like once in a lifetime kind of opportunities that we all are into, and I think we're all blessed to be in this era where there's so much interesting, amazing work to do. One needs to be consistent. It's not going to be easy. I don't want to be giving a rosy picture saying that it's also good. It's not. It's going to be difficult. You're going to have those days where you're going to be like frustrated that nobody is kind of understanding, and because there's no tangible result. Impact is something, it can differ from person to person, right? What I feel is an impact for me may not be impact for you at all. You may feel it's a waste of time. It did not yield anything, right? So it takes time. So be consistent, constantly upskill, because this whole platform is so dynamic. Like nobody, I think in our country at least, can say that we are ESG experts. Everybody is on that learning curve, including me. While I've been doing sustainable infra for 2 decades now, like more than 35% of our portfolio is green, but we're still learning because it's constantly evolving. There's new materials coming, there's so much of innovation happening in terms of recycle, reuse. I can only tell you that it's an amazing journey to be part of. You're contributing to the whole global initiative of sustainable finance, sustainable climate finance, and so many interesting things. It's very enriching, but stay consistent, have that patience, do it with your own passion. If you don't feel for it beyond the point, then you may not like doing it, because it's not a very transactional kind of a delivery that you see instant results. Okay, this transaction didn't work, maybe the next transaction would. It's not very transactional. It requires a lot of engagement, it requires a lot of involvement, it requires a lot of patience. But if you do that and if you're constantly at it, I'm telling you, there's no way you're not going to enjoy the ride.
Fantastic. I think this was an incredibly insightful discussion, and I would really thank Radhika for being so thoughtful in sharing her incredible journey with IDFC FIRST Bank. What stands very clearly in front of us is that sustainability is no longer a side note. It's a way that businesses and banks operate, invest, and create value. And that's something that we take out of this conversation that we had today. On behalf of PwC, I would really want to thank you, Radhika, for making time and joining us for this fireside conversation, and to all of you for joining us. And I am hopeful that this conversation actually sparks some new ideas and commitments in your sustainability journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep.